Thank you for watching. My name is Milo Minderbinder, and this is about socialism and communism. The reason being, we've been hearing a whole lot of Comrade Kamala lately, trying to paint her as a communist. Now, all this started with Bernie Sanders claiming, I am a democratic socialist. No, Bernie, you're not. Go have some soup. You are a social democrat, and this is one party we do not have in America, and there's a big difference. The problem is that the Republicans co-opted Bernie's big announcement and turned it into a dog whistle, painting all Democrats as communists and socialists. And now people are grumbling, I don't want to live in socialism. Not only Bernie, who should have known better being a politician, but many, if not all Americans, don't know what they're talking about. I do, because I was born, raised, and spent 26 years behind the Iron Curtain, living, breathing, and suffering under socialism. So please allow me to explain it all to you. Marx wrote his Communist Manifesto in 1848, a long time ago, with the idea that working class, not exploited by the capitalist, makes the proletariat happier. The idea was quite modern at the time of the budding Industrial Revolution, but ultimately it was a big failure. There are only two socialist countries left in the world at this point. It's Cuba and North Korea. All of them economic basket cases, so Marxism isn't what it's cracked up to be. So what is socialism? In a socialist economy, and please pay close attention, all means of production, from a nail-clipping salon to every restaurant, every watering hole, every widget factory, every software company, every building, every bank, every airline, and any and all business you can possibly think of is owned by the government. It means two things. One is that the workers own all means of production as a community property, so to speak. And two, there is no capitalist exploiting that workforce. Marx thought that if workers are not working for the capitalist, that being the owner of the enterprise they work for, they will be forever happy and feeling really good about themselves, and they will go to work, let me quote a socialist ideology here, with a song on their lips, unquote. The idea turned out to be completely false. The problem with socialist economies is that there is no entrepreneurs investing in new businesses, creating new products, implementing new ideas. This is what makes socialist economies flat and unproductive. It also means that the socialist economies are unprofitable, which then reflects in worker salaries and attitudes. Socialist economies create garbage products made by disinterested and disillusioned, hardscrabble workforce living in no luxury. As we used to say in my native Czechoslovakia, we pretend to work and they pretend to pay us. In socialism, you are imprisoned behind concertina wire and electrified fences and watchtowers with AK-47 toting guards watching no man's land to mow you down if you somehow get past the fences and make a run for it. This is a place I spent my formative years before I defected. Now here's the important part. America will never become socialist because our government is prohibited from owning any and all enterprise. Period. Full stop. So we really need to stop saying, I don't want America to become socialist, because it can't. What Americans are confusing is socialism and social programs. Those are two very different things. Now, if you don't like social programs, let me know, because I'll be more than happy to have your Social Security check signed off to me. I'll take it anytime. And if you feel like paying high medical insurance by subscribing to Humana or Aetna with your pre-existing conditions, please get off to Medicare and get yourself a very expensive coverage there. They'll be more than happy to take you in for a hefty price, of course. And now the word from my sponsors. So, what is communism? Let's analyze that. I had to take mandatory Marxism classes, actually called Marxism-Leninism, throughout my education, so I'm well versed in the subject. In socialism, you receive according to what you deserve, which is not much to say the least. In communism, on the other hand, you receive according to what you need. So if you need a Cadillac, you go down to a GM dealership, pick up a brand new Cadillac, and drive away. Communist economy is a cashless economy. Everything is free because there is so much overproduction, presumably by some robotics. Marxists think it's actually possible. It's not. Communism is a utopia. It's never going to happen, at least not in the next 100 years, let's put it that way, with two exceptions. American homeless and less affluent think it's okay to walk into your local Walgreens, grab whatever they need, and walk away with it. Now that is pure communism. Of course, the shrinkage makes the business reconsider staying in dud locations where it gets to be too much, and they close those stores. The other communism in our country, instituted by Ronald Reagan, of all people, back in the 80s, is called EMTALA, or Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act. It intended to stop something called patient dumping. EMTALA is a federal law that forces hospitals to treat any patient who walks into the emergency room with or without ability to pay, instead of shipping them off to the county or community hospitals. So if you're homeless, don't feel too hot one day. You can walk into any ER and get treated. And if you end up in ICU for 3 days with diabetic ketoacidosis and transferred to the floor for another 3 days to get treated and feeded until ready for discharge, you are free to go without paying a dime of that $50,000 bill with a smile and thank you for your patronage. Now that too is communism, and the hospitals are left holding the bag. Thank you, Ronnie, for EMTALA. No surprise, hospitals too go out of business when they run out of sponsors to finance treatment of those redliners who are so lazy as to even bother signing up for Medicaid. Communist parties run socialist states. Communists are a Marxist mafia with privileges of power and upper management over the proletariat. Marx is turning in his grave looking at Chinese socialism that isn't. It is a laughable anomaly having a pretend Communist Party of China, the world's largest mafia, running what is essentially a capitalist state while pretending it's socialist. Hungarians have a special name for that, goulash communism. This evolution of the communist ideology means that it is no longer the dictatorship of the proletariat Marx envisioned. It is a dictatorship of the Communist Party. To sum it all up for you, communist ideology has been debunked as a failure in tandem with the socialist economy meant as the stepping stone to communism. Here's the bottom line. How about we stop calling Kamala comrade she isn't, and stop calling all Democrats socialists and communists, because it's pure nonsense. You need to stop confusing socialism with social programs. The two have very little in common. Lastly, let us focus on the task at hand of not voting for a man whose hand has never held a hammer, whose hand has never held a paintbrush, whose hand has never held a screwdriver, pushed a wheelbarrow, dug a post hole, and lastly, a man with whom you cannot even sit down and have a beer because he doesn't drink. And one more thing. This is a man who apparently doesn't even know the human gestation period. Abortion at 9 months? They're killing the newborns? Really? Dude, that's murder 1, 25 to life. And who's doing the killing? Humor me. The obstetrician? The nurse? The patient? The pediatrician? I implore you, Americans, please vote smart this year. Our democracy is truly at stake. This is Milo Minderbinder. Thank you for watching. Now please visit our sponsors Heath Ledger is Back Kickstarter page before it expires. Thank you once again.